Heaven has put your timeline on pause. Everything around you seems ordinary. The noise of the world, the endless scroll of your screen, the constant pull of demands. Yet this is not ordinary. The heavenly order is cutting through all of it. Why? Because you are hearing from God Himself. This message cannot wait. Might interject. Disruption always feels uncomfortable at first. But without disruption, there's no innovation, no forward motion. You were never meant to blend in. Deep down, you've always felt it. The burden, the conviction that your existence is not random. Opposition, isolation, betrayal. These were not signs of abandonment, but signals of separation. God set you apart. He kept you distinct. Heaven whispers, "Chosen one, listen carefully. I will not compete with distractions." This word is for you alone. Might add here, when a signal cuts through the noise, pay attention. That's the moment that really matters. Your destiny is urgent. Heaven wastes no time, and neither can you. The spiritual realm already recognizes the crown over your head. That's why the battles were so fierce, why storms came early. Hell always saw who you were destined to be and tried to silence you before you knew your own worth. But here you are, still standing, still breathing, still chosen. Musk's closing thought. Resilience defines destiny. If you're still standing, you're already ahead of the curve. This isn't chance. This is divine appointment. Listen carefully. You are marked. Every tear you cried was counted. Every sleepless night was witnessed by heaven. The rejection you faced was not a curse. It was redirection. The pain you endured was shaping you into someone darkness could not manipulate. You carry a light that hell cannot extinguish. And that light is why you must lean in right now. You cannot scroll past this. You cannot dismiss this. This is God Himself reaching through time and space, halting everything around you so your spirit will awaken. The enemy wants you distracted, disconnected, and doubting. But heaven wants you alert, aligned, and activated. There is no middle ground anymore. Either you step into your calling, or you risk missing the very purpose for which you were born. That is why this word burns with fire. It cannot wait. It is not for tomorrow, not for someday, not for when you feel ready. It is for this very moment. You are hearing it because the Spirit of God made sure you would not miss it. Lift your head. Breathe in. Recognize the weight of what is happening right now. Unseen angels are moving, arranging, protecting, and clearing a path for you. Right now, the voice of God is calling you higher. Do not think this is just a coincidence. It is divine orchestration. You are not here by mistake. You were guided here by the Spirit who knows you, who formed you, who has marked you since before you were born. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, "For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end. It will not prove false. Wait, it will come." Do you see it? Even your delays are part of God's timing. Even what you thought was lost is still on schedule. Nothing about your life is random. Everything has been building to this moment. Type Amen to embrace the angel's blessings. Show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. This awakening, this summons to rise. Chosen one, you cannot sleepwalk through this season. Heaven is calling you awake. God is whispering and thundering at the same time. It is time. Every excuse must die here. Every fear must be broken here. Every doubt must be cast off here. You are stepping into the fullness of why you were chosen. This is not a gentle nudge. It is a divine command. Do not ignore this. Do not postpone this. Heaven has aligned this very moment to intercept your wandering thoughts, to pull you into focus, to remind you that your destiny is not in the hands of man, but in the hands of Almighty God. You are His sealed, chosen, anointed. This fire inside you is not imagination. It is confirmation. Now, beloved one, if your spirit hears this, if your heart burns as you read these words, do not remain silent. Mark this divine encounter in the comments. Type the prophetic number 777 as your act of agreement, as your way of saying, "Lord, I hear you, and I will not delay." Let earth see your obedience, and heaven see your answer. This cannot wait. You can't wait. This is your moment. Selected 1. You were never made to fit in, which is why you've always felt odd. You felt the separation from the throng since you were a little kid. You carried a peculiar weight in your soul, a feeling that something about you is not normal, while others moved with ease and compliance. This distinction is not a sign of rejection. Selection is what it is. It is proof that God's hand has been with you from the start. Reflect on your life. Someone has misinterpreted you, even by those closest to you at times. They were unable to perceive what God had put within of you. They thus made judgments based on their inability to comprehend. You could have been characterized as too much or not enough by teachers, acquaintances, or even relatives. However, you are never addressed by those names in paradise. Only you have ever been named selected by heaven. It hasn't always been easy being apart. There were times when you just wanted to fit right in. In situations when you felt excluded, you yearned for inclusion. However, you can now see that it was an act of kindness. God forbade you from settling in places that were unable to support your fate. It was not a curse that closed the doors. They served as shields. The broken partnerships weren't coincidental. They were acts of God. Heaven was communicating, even in the quiet of your hardships. When others seemed to transgress easily with no repercussions, you may have questioned why you were unable to avoid condemnation. You are tagged, so the truth is clear. Others are free to go about unchecked, but you can't. The voice of God may be disregarded by others. That voice, however, will always find you. It is confirmation of your chosen path and your calling. Your bones are burning with a fire that will not go out. It simply becomes louder despite your repeated attempts to hush it in the tug of God's presence. Why? Because your comfort is of no concern to heaven. It is dedicated to helping you change. A tiny, magnificent, everyday existence was not intended for you. Type Amen to embrace the angel's blessings. Show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. You are destined for something more significant, something enduring, something substantial. Take a moment to look up and observe the reality. Refinement is what seems like rejection. Preparation is what seems to be seclusion. God is the one making you. Thus the world cannot mold you. Every stage of your life has been a part of the potter's work, and you are his clay. Through the prophet Isaiah, the Spirit communicated, Isaiah 43 verses 1-4. Don't worry about yourself. You have been called by name. My chosen one is you. This is not only an old text. This is your soul's mirror. God already had a purpose for you before you even took a breath. He had already scripted your fate before you experienced your first heartache. Your split isn't arbitrary. Eternity is its foundation. Your spirit should be profoundly affected by this reality. If you are the chosen one, you are not aimlessly wandering or haphazardly navigating life. Every turn you've taken on your trip is evidence that heaven has been watching over you. The opposition you encounter is not arbitrary. It is proof that you have a mark that can be seen in the invisible world. Therefore, keep in mind that it is positioning rather than punishment when you feel alone or misunderstood. To make his voice more audible, God draws you away from certain voices. In order for you to become more deeply rooted in him, he takes you out of superficial circles. Heaven's stamp is this distinction you bear, a reminder that you are part of a bigger destiny and a higher order. Know this, your uniqueness is not a flaw. It is your heavenly signature. Because your goal differs from theirs, you may not travel the same route as individuals around you. You're going someplace where no one else can go. You are bearing a burden that others cannot handle. You're selected for tasks that others are unable to finish. So quit saying you're sorry for your light. Give up trying to fit in with other people. Give up questioning the worth of your vocation, simply due to the fact that it does not resemble anybody else's. The kingdom of darkness is terrified of you because you are the original design of heaven. That's why you've been singled out. Your path has seemed heavier because of this. But keep in mind that greater callings come from tougher challenges. Selected one, allow this truth to sink in your heart. Because of your destiny, you are unique. You are significant, which is why you are marked. Heaven has always seen you, even if the earth ignores you. Heaven has really stopped everything for a moment to remind you that you are chosen, and your uniqueness is proof of that. Selected one, Your constant companion has been the weight of conflicts. When others see you, they are unable to comprehend why your struggles appear more intense. Your nights seem longer, or your roads seem heavier. However, you realize deep down that this is preparation rather than punishment. Every adversity you have encountered has been intended to mold you into a person who evil cannot defeat. You recall crying by yourself while no one else was there. You remember the times you felt like you may crumble beneath the strain. Even if you ask God, "Why me?" at those times you are still standing. That is evidence enough that His hand has always been with you. Type Amen to embrace the angel's blessings. Show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. You were selected, as shown by the fact that you survived what should have slain you. Recognize that your suffering has not been in vain. Each restless night has turned into a prayer. Every quiet cry has evolved into a request for help. God now uses every wound as an altar on which to pour His oil. What some refer to as brokenness, heaven demands that you become ready. What some see as failure, heaven views it as a training ground. You have endured fire in order to refine rather than destroy your faith. In Psalms 34 verse 19, the Bible states, "The righteous person may have many troubles, but the Lord delivers him from them all." This is more than simply a statement of comfort. It's a given. No matter how many conflicts you endure, none of them will have the last say. Every scar on your soul is evidence of the faithfulness of the Lord, who is your deliverer. Selected one, take a new perspective on your adventure. What you bear has always been shown by the assaults against you. Weapons are not wasted on the common people by the adversary. Only the anointed are the targets of his fire. The weight of your calling is evident in how heavy your fight is. You cannot hate your battle because of this. Your power has risen from the earth. You become resilient as a result of your rejection. Your loneliness became a prayer. Your suffering became your strength. You have unknowingly been preparing for your fate. And now heaven is saying, "Do not curse your wilderness, for it is the very ground that birthed your strength." What once felt like a prison has actually been a furnace that purified your faith. This is why you often feel misunderstood. Others see only the surface, but they cannot discern the depth of your spirit. They cannot grasp why you refuse to quit when quitting would be easier. They do not realize that it is not your strength keeping you alive. It is the hand of God lifting you every time you fall. And here lies your turning point. You cannot let your past pain become your permanent identity. Yes, you have been wounded, but you're not defined by wounds. Yes, you have been rejected, but you are not abandoned. Yes, you have been broken, but you are not destroyed. Every hardship you carried has been shaping you for glory. Now, chosen one, it is time for you to shift your response. Do not complain about the weight anymore. Embrace it. Do not resent the battles anymore. See them as confirmations. Every time the enemy tried to silence you, he was actually testifying to the fact that your voice carries power. Every attempt to break you only proved that you are unbreakable in Christ. And I ask you now, as a prophetic act of agreement, type these words in the comments. Still I rise. Write it not as empty text, but as a declaration of your survival, your resilience, and your faith when you type it. Let it be your testimony that no matter what came against you, you are still here, chosen, and rising higher. Let heaven see your declaration and let the darkness tremble because you refuse to bow down to your pain. Chosen one, the battlefield of your life is also the birthplace of your destiny. Do not despise the weight you carry, for it is proof of your calling. Every scar you bear is a crown in the making. The battles you thought were designed to kill you have only qualified you to carry more glory. Lift your head, wipe your tears, straighten your shoulders. You are a warrior of light, forged in the fire of affliction, anointed by the oil of endurance, and chosen for such a time as this. Every hardship you endured was God's way of preparing you for the next level of your destiny. And the best part, the battles you have faced are nothing compared to the victory that is about to be revealed in you, chosen one. Your story is not a tragedy. It is a testimony in progress. And the world has yet to see the glory that will shine through you. Chosen one, your light unsettled darkness. The battles you face are not only about you. They're about what you carry. There is something in your spirit that intimidates the forces of evil. Have you noticed that the atmosphere shifts when you walk into a room? That tension is not coincidence. Darkness feels threatened because your presence exposes what hides in the shadows. This is why certain people feel uneasy around you. Even when you have done nothing wrong, they sense something different about you, something they cannot explain. It is not your words, your posture, or even your actions. It is the Spirit of God within you. You carry a light that disrupts demonic agendas without you even trying. Chosen one, understand this. Your calling is not only to survive darkness, but to drive it out. That is why the battles come so fiercely. Darkness fears exposure, and you are a carrier of revelation. Demonic strongholds tremble at the sound of your prayers, at the purity of your worship, at the authority of your faith. You may feel weak at times, but in the spiritual realm, your presence is like thunder cracking through silence. There's a reason why you have been targeted since you were young. The enemy saw your light before you recognized it yourself. He tried to silence you early, to break your confidence, to make you believe you were insignificant. He hoped you would never realize the authority you carry. But the fact that you are still here proves that every attack failed. Chosen one, take courage. You're not fighting alone. The very fire of God surrounds you. The angels of heaven walk with you. The Spirit within you is greater than every power of darkness that rises against you. Remember what was spoken in the sacred texts of old in the first letter of John, chapter 4, verse 4. You dear children are from God and have overcome them, because the one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world. This truth is not a distant promise. It is your present reality. Greater is he who lives within you. That is why you cannot be defeated. No matter how fierce the battle becomes, you are not fighting for victory. You are fighting from victory. The cross already disarmed every power of darkness. Now when you stand firm in faith, you enforce what has already been won. Your light is not fragile. It is eternal. The same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead dwells in you. That Spirit is unshakable, unquenchable, unstoppable. You may feel tired in your body, but your spirit remains untouchable every time you worship through the storm. Your light grows brighter every time you pray. In the midnight hour, your flame intensifies every time you refuse to compromise. The darkness loses ground. Chosen one, do not underestimate what you carry. You are not merely enduring battles. You are shifting atmospheres. When you walk into your workplace, your school, your family gatherings, you carry heaven with you. Demons scatter, lies crumble, chains weaken, and hope rises simply because you showed up. Never again doubt the power of your presence. But remember, light attracts opposition. Just as insects swarm around a flame, so too does the enemy attempt to swarm you with distractions, discouragement, and deception. Do not be surprised when trials come. Instead, see them as confirmation that your light is shining. The enemy would not waste his energy on you if you were not dangerous to his kingdom. Chosen one, guard your flame. Protect your prayer life. Guard your heart against bitterness and compromise. Darkness cannot extinguish you, but you can dim yourself if you forget who you are. That is why you must stay close to the source of your light. Abide in him, for apart from him, you can do nothing. But in him, you are unstoppable. There will be moments when you feel alone. But remember this, you are never alone. Heaven surrounds you. Even now, angels stand guard over you. The Spirit of God intercedes for you with groans too deep for words. You may not always feel the light burning, but it never leaves you. It is not based on your feelings. It is anchored in his promise. So walk boldly, chosen one. Step into rooms with confidence, not arrogance, but with holy assurance. You are not just another face in the crowd. You are a carrier of divine fire. Wherever you go, heaven's authority follows. Your light is not small, and your calling is not ordinary. You are here to disrupt the plans of darkness, to set captives free, to release heaven's presence on earth. The time for shrinking back has ended. Let your light shine fully. Let the world see the reflection of Christ in you. Let darkness tremble as you take your rightful place as God's chosen vessel. And never forget, no matter how loud the opposition becomes, your light will always prevail because it comes from the one who is eternal, chosen one. The urgency of obedience burns brighter than ever. You cannot linger at the edge of decision, thinking there will always be more time. Delay is dangerous because every moment of hesitation allows darkness to creep closer. Heaven is speaking now because heaven knows the hour. This is not about tomorrow. It is about today. Obedience is not a burden. It is a key. Picture a locked door with treasures behind it. That treasure is your destiny, your peace, your breakthrough. But the door will not open to hesitation. It opens only to obedience. Every time you obey, you turn the key and the door swings wider. Every time you resist delay, you step closer to the fullness of what God has prepared. Think of obedience like a seed. At first, it seems small and insignificant. You place it in the ground, unsure if it will even survive. But give it time, give it care, and suddenly the seed becomes a tree bearing fruit that blesses not only you but everyone around you. Your obedience is that seed, and the harvest will be greater than you can imagine. This is why heaven presses urgency into your spirit. Mercy does not wait forever. Opportunities are not endless. When God speaks, he expects you to move. Not because he is harsh, but because he knows the danger of delay. The longer you hesitate, the louder the voice of doubt becomes. The longer you postpone, the easier it is to justify rebellion. The ancient words recorded in Deuteronomy chapter 30 verse 19 declare this day, I call the heavens and the earth as witnesses against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life so that you and your children may live. This is the moment of decision. Heaven has placed before you two roads, and obedience is the road of life. Chosen one, this is also where your heart must open wide. If this word has been food for your spirit, then consider how you can help set the table for others. Just as a torch spreads fire to the next, so too can your simple act of sharing spread light into someone else's darkness. When you like this message, you are affirming that the fire is alive in you. When you share it, you are carrying that flame into places you may never step physically, but can reach spiritually. And if you subscribe, you are saying, I will not let the fire die. Subscribing is not just about following. It is about staying connected to the flow of oil, the ongoing stream of encouragement, the living water that heaven keeps pouring through this channel. Some of you may even feel led to go further. Consider this. When a farmer sees fertile ground, he does not hesitate to sow his seed. Why? Because he knows the soil is alive and the harvest is certain. In the same way, if your spirit feels nourished here, prayerfully consider planting back, whether through a donation, a gift, or support. Not because you are forced, but because you recognize fertile ground when you see it. Your seed makes space for more souls to be reached, more hearts to be awakened, more lives to be transformed. Think of it like building a well in the desert. One sip of water can refresh you, but building the well ensures generations can drink. Your obedience to support does not just refresh you. It ensures the well stays open for many others who are thirsty for God's word. But hear this clearly. This is not about pressure. It is about participation. Some are called to listen. Some are called to share. Some are called to sow. Each act is part of the same mission. What matters is that you do not sit idle when heaven calls you to act. Whether your obedience is clicking share, subscribing for consistency, or sowing into the mission, every action becomes a thread in the tapestry of God's plan. Chosen one. Obedience is costly, but disobedience costs more. Think of Jonah, who fled from God's call and found himself in the belly of the fish. His delay did not cancel the mission. It only prolonged the pain. You are wiser than that. You will not let hesitation rob you of joy, peace, or destiny. You will choose the quicker path, the obedient path, because you know what rests on the other side. Lift your eyes and see what is at stake. Your obedience today may unlock someone else's breakthrough tomorrow. Your decision to move may set captives free. You will never meet, Your yes is bigger than you. This is why heaven cannot wait, and neither can you. So let your obedience be wholehearted. Let your actions reflect the urgency in your spirit. Let your choices align with heaven's command. Because every moment of obedience pushes back darkness and draws you closer to destiny. Chosen one, divine intervention is happening now. Do not mistake this moment for chance. And do not believe the lie that you just stumbled across these words. Heaven has been weaving threads behind the scenes, arranging moments and movements, aligning your path to intersect with this very message. You are meant to hear this today. Look back and notice how often God stepped into your story, even when you did not see it at the time. The accident you narrowly avoided. The toxic connection that ended suddenly. The closed door that left you frustrated. All of it was heaven's hand moving for your protection. While you wondered why things fell apart, God was actually keeping you from traps you cannot see. Chosen one, this is not coincidence. This is orchestration. God is intervening in your life because your destiny is too valuable to be lost. Even when you tried to run in the wrong direction, His mercy intercepted you. Even when you ignored His whispers, His hand still guided you. Do you see the love in that? Heaven has never left you unguarded. Consider the times you should have been consumed by despair, but somehow you found strength you could not explain. That was intervention. Think of the nights when you cried out with no words and peace came upon you like a blanket. That was intervention. Remember the moments when you wanted to give up, but something inside whispered, "Not yet. Keep going." That was heaven's voice refusing to let you quit. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Romans, chapter 8, verse 28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. Even your mistakes, even your delays, even your heartbreaks are not wasted. God gathers every fragment of your story and turns it into a masterpiece, chosen one. This is why you must open your eyes now. Heaven is arranging people, opportunities, and pathways around you. The very fact that you are reading this is a sign that you are on the edge of something greater. Intervention always comes before elevation. God interrupts your ordinary so He can introduce you to the extraordinary. Do not ignore this moment when heaven steps in. Divine interruptions are not accidents. They are invitations. Invitations to align your will with His, to shift from delay to obedience, to walk boldly into what He has designed for you. This is why the Spirit whispers urgently, "Chosen one, respond." Here and below is your act of prophecy. Put the number 444 in the comments to commemorate this occasion. Write it as your affirmation that you acknowledge heaven's involvement in your life, not as a series of blank numbers. The number 444 represents the alignment of heavenly order, the manifestation of God's hand guiding your actions. Lord, I see you moving and I trust your leading. M selected one. Let be your way of stating it as you type it. You can't afford to ignore signals from God. People too often overlook miracles because they assume they'd be accompanied by thunder and lightning. However, God often works in subtle ways that may be misconstrued for coincidence, such as whispering, timing, and alignment. However, you're not like the others. You have been selected. You possess the ability to see, hear, and discern with your eyes, hearing, and spirit. Examine your life at this moment. Your heart's unexpected stirring is not coincidental. The Spirit is beckoning. The changes that are taking place around you are not errors. They are the chess moves of heaven. It's not chance that possibilities are starting to arise. They are the fulfillment of prophecy. This is real-time divine intervention, and you're there in the center of it. Don't fight it. The opposition will attempt to obstruct your view by using doubt, fear, and distraction. In a whisper, he will say that you're not worthy, that you are dreaming, and that this moment is not as important as it seems. However, if you perceive God's involvement, you will see that the devil lies because he is aware of the truth. You can follow your destiny no matter what. Let this soak into your soul, chosen one. You're not left behind. You are not forgotten. We don't forget you. God is guiding you. Every door that has been closed has served as a detour. All of the delays have been prearranged. All the disruptions have been preparatory. Heaven has been keeping you safe, preparing you for the future, and safeguarding you. Raise your head and inhale this reality. God's hand is upon you, and each step brings you one step closer to your goal. Now is the time to put your faith in Him. Let go of your fear of the unknown and follow His advice. The act of divine intervention is not arbitrary. It's intimate. I will not let you miss your destiny. That is what God is saying. Honor this moment, chosen one. In accord, let your spirit surge. Declare that you perceive the hand of heaven working in your life and openly mark it with 444. Because it's not the end. You are entering the larger narrative that God has written for you, and it is the pivotal moment. Selected one. Right now, you are on the verge of revolt, and the warning is being sounded by the voice of heaven. It's not a mild prod. It's a warning cloaked in compassion. You could lose more than you think if you make a mistake, refuse to do something, or intentionally disobey someone. You have a heavier calling in life. Thus, the stakes are bigger for you. Open disobedience is not usually the hallmark of rebellion. Sometimes it manifests as little delays, procrastination, whispering, or ideas like "I'll obey tomorrow." However, heaven does not distinguish between disobedience and delayed compliance. Both lead you into the shadows and away from the light. Selected one. For this reason, God's voice becomes more powerful right now. He's not going to let you stray without warning. Recall how Saul was on the verge of fulfilling his destiny. However, he lost his crown due to revolt. Humility was the first thing that filled his heart. Vie destruction and boot compromise. It's a sobering lesson. Being anointed does not save you from the repercussions of disobedience. Disobedience is not excused by calling. Being selected entails both privilege and accountability. You will be held responsible for what you know in heaven. Consider your own life. Have you experienced times when your body chose the easy route, even if your soul knew it was the correct one? Have you felt the internal struggle, where convenience tempted more than conviction? The struggle for your fate is that tension. Every decision you make affects your spiritual vision. Thus, every decision counts. Through the prophet Elijah, the Spirit communicated. Verse 21 of chapter 18. How long will it take you to decide between two viewpoints? Follow the Lord if He is God. Follow Baal, nevertheless, if He is God. Even now, this issue remains relevant. You can't be in two different universes. You cannot satisfy your urges for disobedience and claim the crown of paradise. You are too selected to walk on two different sides of the fence, and the middle ground is a myth. One rebellious blint has been selected. It murmurs justifications at first. It isn't that important. Everybody does it. God will comprehend. However, it gradually darkens the eyes, dulls the hearing, and hardens the heart until conviction is lost. It is not the act itself that poses the real risk. However, heaven informs you now of the blindness it causes so you won't enter that darkness. Mercy has shown you patience. When you were about to collapse, how many times did God bring you back? How many times has He told you in a whisper, "Not that way," and change your course? Mercy, however, is not a perpetual wait. It's an opportunity. And when chances are missed for too long, kindness is replaced by judgment. Time is not something you can risk with. Consider Lot's wife, who was on the verge of giving birth. However, one disobedient look cost her everything. Consider Judas, who accompanied Jesus on his journey. However, let rebel to blind him until he is overcome with remorse. These tales are not only historical accounts. You are the intended recipient of these warnings. Heaven records them to prevent you from repeating them, not to scare you. Selected one. It's not your place to rebel. You are anointed for purity, sealed for loyalty, and marked for obedience. Conviction strikes you more strongly than others because of this. Sin does not sit well on your soul because of this. Heaven won't let you sleep until you go back on the road of obedience, no matter how much you attempt to ignore it. Although the edge you stand on is risky, it may be redeemed. Everything may change with a single decision. What rebellion attempted to take may be restored with a single choice to totally turn toward God. This is heaven's kindness. The door remains open despite the strong warning. Selected one. Raise your gaze above the distractions vying for your attention. Honestly, what have I been putting off? What did I excuse? Which orders have I partially followed? Partial obedience is considered rebellion in paradise, so don't fool yourself. Now is the moment to live in full, pure alignment with God's call. Don't be afraid of the price of compliance. Beware of rebellion's blindness. Although it may seem like a sacrifice, obedience brings about life. Rebellion leads to shackles, even if it may seem like liberation. Choose wisely. The edge is close, but the path of life is still before you. Heaven is telling you this when you allow it to pierce your soul. You are chosen, and those who are chosen cannot lead normal lives. You must be pure because of the weight you bear. You must be devoted to earn the crown you are meant to have. Additionally, you should obey the God who called you. Select one now, not later. Over your life, a prophetic mantle is emerging. This isn't wishful thinking or imagination. It's a divine appointment. Not because you were forgotten, but rather because you are being ready. You have been traveling through fire, storms, and the wilderness. Every challenge, every fight, and every tear has been draining you of your oil. Heaven then proclaims, "The mantle rests upon you." A mantle is not a piece of clothing that you wear. It is something that has been imposed upon you by divine decree. Consider Elisha, who was toiling in the fields when Elijah appeared and covered him with his cloak. That was the turning point in Elisha's life. He was unable to go back to his previous behavior because he was the chosen one, selected out by heaven. Similarly, the hand of God is marking you. It's not a light mantle. It is heavy. It has power. It comes with accountability. Wearing it is a way to bring heaven's intentions to earth. It is a covering that gives you the confidence to stand tall and speak boldly, to take action using someone else's authority. The fact that you are now walking in the name of the one who sent you, the chosen one, rather than your own, is a message to the spiritual world. Do you sense it? The urgency in your heart, the change in your soul, and the fire in your bones. These emotions are not arbitrary. They are proof that you are under the mantle. Why you feel the need to pray more profoundly is beyond your comprehension. What causes you to see burdens that others overlook? Why you wake up in the middle of the night with ideas or visions that are too powerful to ignore? The mantle is stirring within of you. This garment serves as a shield as well. When Elijah faced the Baal prophets, he was supported by the mantle of authority that was put upon him, not by human power. Similarly, the heavens that now cover you are the ones that win your conflicts, not human effort. You persevered through assaults and resistance that were intended to test your ability to bear this burden without breaking. David's writings in Psalms 91 verse 1 serve as a reminder to us. The shade of the Almighty shall be the resting place for whomever lives in the protection of the Most High. Your mantle looks like this. It is the Almighty's shadow that envelopes you, giving you strength and designating you as impervious to the enemy's machinations. Selected one. A mantle also represents change. You have changed from who you were. You can't return to previous habits, social networks, or justifications. The mantle draws you into the holy and requires that you separate from the superficial. It's possible that you used to feel at ease blending in. However, you will suddenly discover that smallness no longer suits you and compromise makes you uneasy. The mantle needs to be expanded. You have been restless for this reason. Why the old locations aren't satisfying anymore. You're dressed differently in heaven. Even if you don't realize it yet, you have authority. Not necessarily with joy, others will start to notice it. Sometimes resistance is necessary because the mantle you wear reveals the false and wakes the dormant. Please don't hate this. This is nothing to be afraid of. Accept it. You have not been selected to don a power costume. You have been selected to represent the living God's presence. You cannot play games with your calling because of this. Because the cloak is sacred, the wearer must also be holy. Selected one. Pay close attention to this. This mantle was not handed to you exclusively. It has nothing to do with titles, praise, or acknowledgement. It has to do with service. Elijah's mantle wasn't meant to be cozy. It was for conflict, The purpose of Moses' rod was not ornamentation. It was done for salvation. It's not only for show, your mantle. It is for unleashing paradise on earth, freeing bonds, and changing atmospheres. This mantle weighs a lot. Yes, but it's also magnificent. It will put words in your lips that you did not prepare, take you to places you never thought possible, and give you strength when your own has run out. It will constantly remind you that you are not going alone. Rather, you are walking under the protection of God, chosen one. Do not back down from this. Don't doubt your own worthiness. By themselves, none are deserving of the role. However, God prepares the vessel. He cleanses. He anoints. He gives authority. And you must walk in it with bravery, humility, and unwavering faith if heaven has bestowed it upon you. So, selected one, stand tall. You carry the mantle on your shoulders. Who you are is no longer you. You are commissioned, covered, and marked. The spiritual world already knows it, even if the world doesn't. You are the chosen one, and heaven has clad you in fire, so go forth with holy bravery. We are calling you to be a torchbearer. The atmosphere is thick, the environment is gloomy, and many people's hearts have become frigid. But there's a fire inside of you that won't go out. This flame isn't just for you. It was put inside of you so that you may transport it into areas where darkness has reigned for too long. Heaven tells you differently, even though you may have believed that your trip was about only surviving storms. You're doing more than simply getting by. You're getting ready to light up. It's not embarrassing to have scars. They are bright embers that attest to the fact that you passed through the flames and emerged with light. Selected one. The flame of a torchbearer is not concealed. To help others find their path, they raise their heads. You have been under a lot of strain because of this. To make it glow brighter, the flame inside you is purified. Even your suffering has turned into fuel, strengthening and enhancing your fire. Is the pattern apparent to you? Every rejection you faced made room for God to be there. Every loss allowed the eternal to take root by removing the transient. You were more acutely aware of heaven's strength with each fight you survived. All of it has equipped you to bravely lead the torch into a world in dire need of illumination. The way of the virtuous is like the early sun blazing stronger and brighter until the full light of day, according to what is stated in Proverbs 4 verses 4 to 18. You're meant for it. You're not fading, chosen one. You're getting better. You're not becoming smaller. You're growing. The world becomes progressively darker. However, your light becomes more powerful. Comfort zones cannot conceal a torchbearer. You are made to stand where others are afraid to go. Darkness will be disturbed by your presence. Dry bones will be awakened by your words. And your existence will serve as evidence that the planet is still ablaze with God's fire. Despite how little you may seem, the fire you carry is enormous. Nothing can withstand the fire of the Almighty. However, there are costs associated with holding this flame. The dangerous and the desperate are drawn to light. Because they sense hope in your flame, some people will be attracted to you. Because their shadows are seen by your brightness, some will oppose you. Don't let opposition deter you. It's evidence that your flame is genuine. Keep in mind that you are not carrying the flame alone. Heaven gave you it, and heaven feeds its flames. Your perfection is not necessary for the flame to burn. Your willingness determines this. As long as you continue to walk, the fire will continue to burn. It will continue to lead people home as long as you keep raising it high. Selected one. Another imitation is not necessary for the globe. You need your genuine flame. Never compare your torch to someone else's. Every torchbearer has a role to play in the trip, even if some flames seem larger than others. Yours is special. It's made for the road that only you can take. Let me state this fact plainly. Darkness is terrified by your light. I really hope you remain hidden, quiet, and embarrassed. However, the fact that you are still burning indicates that the adversary is no longer in control. Nothing can put out the fire that heaven has lit, and you are rising now. As a prophetic gesture of agreement, I now ask that you state this in the comment section. I'm a fire. When you write it, let it serve as a reminder that your flame is for raising, not for hiding. Write it proudly, not as empty words, but as your public declaration that you embrace your duty as a torchbearer. Let that be the quote that ignites your soul once again. Selected 1. Light bearers will be needed in the next days. You are embarking on a required journey rather than an easy one. Your religion will lead people you may never meet. If you don't let your flame burn out generations after you could walk in freedom, this surpasses you in size. It's kingdom labor. Thus, go with courage. Keep the flame burning bright, even while hardships are blowing. Don't let men's derision or evil plans to cause you to conceal your true feelings. The evidence that light still prevails is you. There is yet hope, that the selected ones are still anointed by God to bear his fire. Selected 1. Raise your flashlight. Make it burn more brightly. Even though it's been a long night, your spark will assist bring about the morning. Selected 1. Your life is being thundered by the roar of fate. It has been subtly accumulating over your days, but it's becoming louder now, rattling everything that can't stay. This is the point at which obedience can no longer be delayed. There's no whisper here. It's a howl that demands an answer. Consider a lion in the wild. Its roar is neither hesitant nor shy. It echoes across the country, establishing control, delineating territory, and proclaiming power. The call of heaven over your life is also not mute. It's a shout that says, "This is my chosen one, appointed for this time." Well, all of your previous delays have led you to this point. Heaven's voice has been enhanced by every struggle that attempted to silence you. You can't stay impartial because of this. To delay is to oppose. To rebel is to oppose. The roar demands your compliance. We are now reminded by the old words found in Exodus 14, verse 14. For you, the Lord will battle. You just have to remain still. Take note of the contradiction. When you obey, heaven battles. When you stand in surrender and cease circling, you're not being asked to work harder by the clamor. It is telling you to align yourself, to allow the full operation of God's power through you, chosen one. Recognize that obedience is not for you alone. For others, it serves as a bridge. Imagine a candle burning during a storm. By themselves, despite its seeming fragility, it serves as a beacon for those who are lost in the dark when it is put in a window. Your obedience is that flame. By choosing to shine, you will light someone else's path. For this reason, I am really asking you, if this message has moved you, feel free to act accordingly whenever you want. You're doing more than just pressing a button. I will not disregard your assertion that, yes, I hear the roar of destiny. By sharing, you are spreading that scream into hearts, homes, and places where too much hush has fallen. Additionally, it seems like you are planting your roots alongside a rushing river when you subscribe. By subscribing, you are choose to remain a part of the stream of live words rather than straying. Here, God continues to pour. Staying close to water prevents roots from withering. That constancy is necessary for your spirit. There may even be a push for some of you to plant a seed. Second, make a donation. Consider it similar to adding a stone to a lighthouse tower. The light may shine further since each stone rises higher. Giving is more than just financing words. You are creating a lighthouse that will lead innumerable individuals who are looking for the same light that you have discovered. Maybe you like to think of it as a vineyard. There are few laborers, but the crop is abundant. By establishing vines for future generations to dine from, you're doing more than just sampling the grapes, bisoving. With your help, a vineyard will continue to bear fruit. Hear me out. There is no pressure here. It's an invitation. Others will use their hands, others their words, and some their prayers to plant. Indeed, a few with their means. They're all required. It's important that you act without doubt and with obedience. Selected one. The roar of urgency is the same as the roar of fate. Distracted living is no longer an option. Heaven is requesting your undivided focus, commitment, and alignment. God's announcement that the period of smallness is over is the sound you hear in your soul. Life was not meant for you to walk on tiptoe. You were made to shout beside him, to walk with power, and to have such a presence that it would tremble the earth under your boots. Don't shrink back, then. Never question your value. Don't put out the fire within of you. Heaven's reminder that your mission is louder than your suffering Your calling is larger than your fear, and your obedience is stronger than your justifications, is the roar of destiny. Hearing this in your soul, beloved, chosen one, your confirmation is the shout of heaven. Allow your emotions to be echoed by action. Obediently align yourself with it. Share it to spread the word. You may establish yourself by subscribing, and if guided, join in stitching the beacon's construction. Here comes the roar. Now is the moment. Furthermore, heaven will thunder into the ground via you, chosen one, selected one. You frightened fortresses. The spiritual world is aware of your identity, even if you don't always feel strong. When you enter alignment, demonic bonds that have bound families for centuries start to weaken. When your voice rises in prayer, you must bend down to the curses that others have given up to. In the unseen, what seems to be commonplace faith is seen as a weapon of war. Strongholds over generations are unyielding. Addiction, fear, poverty, violence, and shame cycles are all intertwined with bloodlines. They persuade every generation that nothing will ever change by whispering to them. However, heaven designated you as the cycle breaker when you got there. You don't have to go through what your parents or grandparents went through. You were brought up to cause disruptions. It stops with me, says the one. All of this explains why you have been the target of constant assaults. Because you have the power to destroy what others have accepted for years. Hell is afraid of you. Your prayers are more than just consoling. Invisible prisons are shaken by them. There is more to your worship than just a song. It is an affirmation that God's throne is preeminent. Choose one, even when darkness seems to have prevailed. Know this, just your presence is significant. Observe how the atmosphere changes when you enter a room. Some people may have an inexplicable sense of calm. Because their secret darkness is revealed, others could get agitated. When this occurs, don't back down. Never say you're sorry for the light you bear. Fear, exposure, strongholds, and your very being make visible what cannot be concealed. In the second epistle to the Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 4, the apostle reminds us, the weapons we use to combat are not the world's weapons. Instead, they possess the divine ability to destroy fortresses. You don't have no power. You don't use physical weapons to combat. You are unstoppable against any chain because you have been given the weapons of heaven, faith, prayer, the word, and Christ's blood. Imagine the walls of Jericho. They seemed unflappable, but they fell to the ground with a single act of obedience and a single cry of confidence. Likewise, the boundaries enclosing your family, community, and personal life are not impregnable. They're waiting for your obedience to be heard. What has stood for generations may be destroyed by a single act of faith. You cannot afford to live a quiet or tiny life because of this. Strongholds are kept pleasant by silence. They survive by compromise. However, bravery and obedience face them head-on. Hell notices when you pray. Lies start to fall apart when you tell the truth. Chains start to come loose as you proclaim liberation. The invisible world is rocked, even if you may not see it right first. There will always be opposition when you stand in faith, chosen one. Territories are not voluntarily ceded by strongholds. They will retaliate not with obvious shackles, but rather with depressing rumors, diversions, and efforts to weaken you. Resistance should not be mistaken for failure. Resistance is evidence that you are encroaching. The adversary is unwilling to give up. Keep this in mind. You're not fighting this battle alone. Heaven is on your side. Angels are at your side. You are empowered by your inner soul. You possess the same power that brought Jesus back to life. Furthermore, no fortress can withstand such strength indefinitely. You are not a cycle victim. They're broken by you. Raise your head. Selected one. Because you are awake. The bulwarks of addiction, rejection, humiliation, and fear are quivering. You won't be ruined by what others have destroyed. You won't be bound by what others are bound by. You are your family's pivotal moment. The one designated by heaven to provide liberation to locations where people have been oppressed for a long time is the breaker of curses. For this reason, you shouldn't hate your fights. Your hardships are preparing you for success. You erode the hold of the fortress each time you reject temptation. You dispel a falsehood each time you tell the truth. Heaven appreciates the altar you create each time you worship in agony. The pressure indicates that you're pushing against something actual, even if you may feel it. Selected 1. Your testimony will eventually be heard above your hardships. You'll rise and make a statement. I saw the shackles snap. I saw the walls collapse. I weathered the storm and emerged victorious. And when they see the proof of your freedom in you, others will believe. You're not like the others. You are the destructive weapon of heaven against the forces of evil. Strongholds are aware of your name because of the person who is inside you, not because of your power. And as long as you stay with him, you will see every jail being unlocked, every wall collapsing, and every chain being broken. Choose one and take a big step. Fear the night, because you are equipped with heaven, and the light you bear is too strong for everything. Selected 1. This moment is being confirmed by the sky. Even though you may not be aware of it, every obstacle you have faced, every prayer you have received, and every change in your environment has been guiding you in the direction of divine harmony. Now, heaven is identifying this time of year with a prophecy, a number that has significance beyond the ordinary. Signs don't just happen. They serve as reminders that God is actively participating in your narrative rather than being aloof. Like melodies, numbers keep repeating until you notice them. They show up in timings, patterns, and little nuances that you may otherwise miss. Why? Because heaven incorporates confirmation into the beat of your life via symbols as much as words. Pick one and listen. Those who disregard these indications as random are not like you. Your soul is awake. You have your eyes open. You've got your ears tuned. It's not random when heaven repeats a number in front of you. It's alignment. You cannot ignore the patterns that uplift you because it is the King of Kings telling you, I am here and I am guiding you. In the spiritual realm, what seems to be repetition in the natural world is really revelation. Heaven purposefully interweaves reminders throughout your days so that you never forget you are being led, even when you are unsure. Every indication that the Eternal One is still guiding your course is a whisper. Selected 1. Look at the gentleness of God's voice. He was able to thunder all orders. However, he often opts for subtle cues, subliminal messages, and covert affirmations that are only perceptible to watchful hearts. The fact that he trusts you to see the little things and acknowledge his involvement in them is evidence of his love. We don't forget you. Your Father is very close to you. In chapter 41 of the book of Isaiah, the Bible makes a declaration. Verse 11, Therefore, don't be afraid. I'm with you. I am your God, so don't be discouraged. I'll support and fortify you. I will use my righteous hand to support you. There is no ambiguity in this guarantee. It's intimate. It serves as a reminder that heaven has not forsaken you on your trip. Prophetic numerals resemble the divine order's fingerprints to remind you that the God who called you has already gone before you. They seem to draw your attention and arouse your soul. They may appear on clocks, receipts, addresses, and other unexpected locations. But the reason they make you feel anything is because they were put there by heaven. As a prophetic gesture of awareness, the chosen one has now been picked. Comment the number 555 to mark this message. Why this particular number? Because it represents the expansion of grace, the emergence of change, and the outpouring of heavenly favor in waves. It serves as a message from above that change should be welcomed rather than dreaded. Because every step has the hand of God. Let 555 be your pact with heaven as you input it. I accept your grace for this time of year, and I have faith in the direction you are taking me. Into the selected one. Know this very well. You connect yourself with bigger outpourings by obeying little prophetic deeds. Similar to how healing required 7 dips in the Jordan, these symbolic acts of obedience pave the way for invisible breakthroughs. Despite its seeming simplicity, it has spiritual significance. Never undervalue the influence of consensus. You're doing more than simply typing when you type that number. You're announcing alignment. Both heaven and hell are being told by you. I am aware that I have been selected. and I make the brave decision to enter what God has sealed over me. Your act of trust has far-reaching consequences that are invisible to the naked sight. Selected 1. Additionally, prophetic numerals serve as temporal reminders. The clock in heaven is accurate. Although you may have a sense of delay, you're not rejected. Despite the fact that you can feel ignored, you are actually concealed for preparing. The Spirit is now urging you to step into trust like never before. And as the number comes, heaven is saying, the time is now. You cannot ignore these times because of this. Heaven verifies His word not only via scripture and prayerful murmurs, but also by indicators that break the routine. I am near and I am speaking. That's what God is saying, so cheer up. This season, recognize the seal. This isn't a misunderstanding. It's lucidity. There isn't turmoil here. It's alignment. You are marked by heaven. Additionally, the prophetic numbers provide proof that God is actively directing your course. Selected 1. React with trust. Declare what your spirit already understands by your deeds. Let 555 become your altar of agreement today by leaving a comment. Let it serve as a reminder that you not only heard the voice of heaven, but also boldly answered it. You have been selected. Heaven has sealed your alignment. Selected 1. Those who persevere will be crowned. This life's challenges sometimes seem never-ending. Heaven, however, serves as a reminder that every hardship has a reason and that every act of faith is cherished. There's a reason you're fighting. You are on your way to unassailable triumph, in pursuit of an untarnishable prize. Heavenly crowns are not vanity decorations. They represent triumph. They are awarded to those who persevered in the face of fire, held on throughout storms, and refused to give up on God while all around them called for it. You are one of the people who will be honored because you haven't given up, chosen one. Think about the Apostle Paul, who wrote of completing the race at the conclusion of his voyage, even when it was simpler to give up. He endured hardships, betrayals, incarcerations, and wounds throughout his life. But he spoke confidently about the crown that was waiting for him. Over you, that same certainty is expressed. The splendor of then lasts forever, but the suffering of today is fleeting. Selected 1. Imagine the crown as a live example of perseverance as well as gold and diamonds. Every jewel is a symbol of a season you made it through. Prayers uttered in the dark are reflected in each shine. Every curve represents the power you discovered when weakness threatened to overwhelm you. It's not just a crown put on your head. Your path shapes it, your faith shapes it, and God's touch polishes it. It is the outward evidence that grandeur always comes from tenacity. In chapter 2, verse 10 of the book of Revelation, God's voice thundered, "I will grant you life as the reward of your victory if you remain loyal until the end of time." This promise extended beyond the time of the ancient Christians. It's for you. Perseverance, not perfection, is the true test of faithfulness. And heaven witnesses your tenacity. Selected 1. Every time you choose love despite being rejected, you had treasure in storage. Every time you prayed while silently crying, you were making your crown heavier. You were getting closer to glory each time you rejected temptation, even when no one else would know. These invisible sacrifices don't go to waste. They are forever documented. Crowns stand for both reward and power. Wearing your crown is a testament that you now rule with Christ, as well as a sign of what you conquered. One day, heaven will celebrate you because of the same wars that attempted to kill you. Your wounds will become into precious gems. Your fortitude will become a song, and your scars will become witness. Selected 1. Allow this image to fortify your tired heart. Too frequently, the stress of the now causes you to lose sight of the happiness that lies ahead. But heaven whispers, look beyond the pain. Look to the promise. What you endure now is building a crown you cannot yet see. And when you finally behold it, every tear will be worth it. Do not think you labor unseen. Heaven sees. Angels witness your endurance. The Father collects your tears in his bottle. The Son intercedes for you, strengthening your spirit when you feel too weak to continue. Nothing you have endured is forgotten, and nothing you have sacrificed will be overlooked. Crowns also speak of legacy. When you overcome, you open doors for those who come after you. Your faith creates paths for children, family, and even strangers you may never meet. They will walk freer because you endured faithfully. Your crown will testify not only to your endurance, but also to the lives changed through your perseverance. Chosen one, the weight of the crown may feel invisible now, but in your spirit, you already carry it. That is why the trials are heavy. That is why the warfare is intense. The enemy fights hardest against those destined for crowns. But remember, he cannot steal what heaven has promised. He can only try to distract you, hoping you will give up before receiving it. Lift your head in hope. You are not running in vain. The race has meaning. The battle has purpose. The scars have glory hidden within them. The crown waiting for you is not cheap. It is priceless, forged through fire, pressed through pain, polished through perseverance. Chosen one, do not despise your struggle. It is crafting your crown. Do not belittle your endurance. It is evidence of your faith. And do not forget the promise. Life as your victor's crown, eternal and unshakable, awaits you. Walk forward with this vision burning in your spirit. One day you will lay your crown at the feet of the Lamb, not in sorrow, but in worship, declaring that every battle was worth it, every tear was worth it, every step was worth it. For the glory that awaits will outweigh them all. Chosen one, there's a danger hidden in silence. Not the silence of rest or reflection, but the silence of withholding truth when your voice is required. Heaven has entrusted you with revelation, with testimony, with words that carry the power to shift atmospheres. To stay quiet when God has asked you to speak is to allow darkness to reign unchallenged. You have felt those moments when your spirit stirred, urging you to speak, yet fear or hesitation held you back. You may have thought your voice was small, your influence insignificant. But understand this, heaven does not measure power by volume or platform. A single word spoken in faith can pierce through lies and dismantle strongholds. Silence, however, gives those lies permission to remain. The stories of Scripture show this again and again. Esther was chosen not for comfort, but for confrontation. If she had stayed silent, her people would have perished. Yet when she spoke, her voice became the turning point for a nation. Chosen one, do not underestimate how much rides on your willingness to speak. Someone's freedom, someone's breakthrough, someone's awakening may be tied to your obedience. Chosen one, your silence is never neutral. It either protects the shadows or releases the light. Think of your voice as a key. When used, it unlocks doors for others. When withheld, chains remain fastened. God entrusted you with that key because he knew you could be trusted to use it. Do not bury it in fear. Lift it in faith and watch freedom unfold. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Luke chapter 19 verse 40, I tell you, he replied, if they keep quiet, the stones will cry out. In the face of truth, creation itself cannot keep quiet. Heaven will raise another voice if you don't speak. However, you will forfeit the dignity of being the vessel that God intended if you remain silent. Selected one. Although it might seem secure, silence provides a false sense of security. Fear makes you believe that confrontation can be avoided by being silent. Actually, it strengthens the same forces you were supposed to oppose. Darkness does not have to grant light permission to shine. It just glows. That's how light your words are. Additionally, shadows linger longer than they should when you withhold them. Think about the generations that came before you. How many people were shackled because someone opted for quiet rather than speaking the truth? If a chosen one had spoken out, how many wars may have been won sooner? Heaven has now given you a voice that will allow you to free others from their bonds, as well as shatter your own. You lose authority when you remain silent. It did not remain silent when David confronted Goliath. His faith statement, "The Lord will deliver you into my hands," came before his triumph, despite the fact that the camp was filled with terror. Before he hit, he said, "Similarly, your words set the stage for success." Speaking the truth out loud is not a sign of conceit. It is in harmony with heaven. Selected one, there's a price for your quiet. but your voice does too. Speaking the truth might result in miscommunication, opposition, or criticism. But that's the burden of being selected. Heaven only promised us that obedience would be strong, not that it would be simple. You unleash power that cannot be gauged by human approbation when you say what God has given you. Don't wait for the ideal answer, the ideal words, or the ideal timing. When the Spirit moves you, speak. Have faith that heaven will provide you with the right words. Your words have everlasting weight, even if they seem little. Your testimony could be the key that opens someone else's jail, even if it seems little. Selected one. Allow this truth to burn within of you. Speech is battle, but silence is surrender. Your words of trust are like arrows piercing the night. Every story you tell is a hope-planting seed. Your every statement is a trumpet proclaiming the dominion of heaven. Even if your voice trembles, raise it. Even if it makes you uncomfortable, speak the truth. Even if no one cheers, proclaim the message of God. Because you were not picked to fit in. You have been selected to be a voice calling out, a light shining through, and a conduit for the song of heaven to reach the ground. And keep in mind that heaven is also listening. Your words ascend before God's throne like incense when you speak. Declarations in line with His word are met with response from angels. Faithful prayers cause demons to shudder. You lose this power if you remain silent, but it is activated by speech. Selected one. Silence is no longer an option. Truth is much needed in the world, and you have it. Don't allow fear to silence you. Don't allow uncertainty to hold you back. Raise your voice, because your tongue has been sanctified by heaven as a tool for liberation. Selected one. Now, the call to community is loud and clear. Fighting alone was never intended for you. It was never intended to bear the burden of fate alone. Despite their powerful roar, lions hunt best when they are proud. Eagles fly high. Even yet, they follow flying patterns. In the